a very engaging program with our members, and a number of them have really benefited. There's a small paper I wanted to read some few things. And I will get it. It is here. Constant changes in technology, increase in the cost of doing business due to the constant increase in the cost of living and post-COVID impact. Reputational risks due to poor publicity, harmful propaganda, and negative attitude by some members. And that is what is killing SACCO. If we are to build this SACCO, this is what I've been emphasizing to all our commanders. That it must be a command-led. Every commander must look at what is affecting the personnel they command. So we must begin from our level of command, and it goes down. And the delegates who are also representing their members must articulate the issues of SACCO. The problem we have been facing when delegates come in, when the AGM is done, that is all. Nobody talks about the issues of the SACCO. But we're encouraging them now that they must articulate the issues of SACCO at all levels, at all forums. So, management is committed to growing accountability and enhance economic values to all the stakeholders. So, I wanted to add, many members have benefited. The dividends have been paid, as I said, to a tune of 600 million. Interest on member savings has been paid to a tune of 529, as I told you from the time we took over. Corporate social responsibility went to 50 million. Condolences went to 75 million. Loan to members to 75. So other financial benefits, we have engaged in financial literacy. That is the biggest problem that we're engaging. Somebody gets a loan and picks it and he goes to blow it. And that is the biggest problem that our officers are grappling with. You find, depending on the behavior of a person, he can invest anywhere and money is blown without seeing the results of that loan. But we have taken them, guiding them on where to invest and what should be invested in. So we have kept on that program is still going, and we have engaged all officers and that program is still going. Before we came in, management of the Uganda Police Force, IGP, that is Police Advisory Committee, IGP made sure that SACCO must be reporting to the Police Advisory Committee on a quarterly basis, and we have been updating that committee on the SACCO matters. We have also been engaging management on a number of issues. Whenever an issue comes in, I report to IGP so that he also tables to the Police Advisory Committee. We have also engaged on other issues that relate to members. And one of the biggest problems that members were grappling with, multiple loans. You find somebody has got 3-4 loans from different places. So these are the problems that are affecting a number of officers. How do you now work? There is pressure where people want to come and demand for their money, and you cannot sustain to clear all this. So we have engaged them in education, but as you know our work, the way you were seated here, if we are today 10 in a station, others are on duty somewhere. So you meet whoever is around. So it requires us to continue going to the districts, going to the stations, going to the regions to talk these issues and educate officers. Areas where we are past, we have answered all the questions members are raising. For your issue that you raised about the management, we have handled some of those complaints. And some people are being investigated. Some are suspended. We have not been condoning this kind of indiscipline where a member is hard earned money is subjected that you must pay something to access it. The board, supervisory committee, management, we said we must take this on. We cannot continue grappling with the past. Then the other issue that I wanted also to bring to the committee, judge us fairly at times. There are times when the committee, and not the committee, the members, like the other day, the committee were happy you gave us money, but the money has not yet come. Somebody is already saying that these crooks of SACCO are already preparing to deduct 90 when it has not even come. We have morals to observe, Honorable Chair. We are not going to just pick people's money anyhow. There was the Committee of Defense, of course, there was that article that came in about that the committee has recommended for the enhancement of the officers. But it went on, people are bashing us that we are ready to eat the money. Before even getting it. So I said that it is really very unfair. When I was reading even the Colo Circular, so he's saying that the enhancement is suspended for another year. So now our hopes, even where people were hoping, when that circular, because everybody is reading it and saying, now where is it? But people are hopeful that you have done your work to recommend that this must be done. So, Madam Chair, whatever you have asked with your committee, we are ready to work with you to make the SACCO a better place so that members can really feel it. But the biggest issue is education. We need to carry out education thoroughly, educate officers. And management, I'm happy a resolution was passed by management that it must begin from the training school, financial literacy, so that when officers are coming to the field, they must understand. When you get the little money, where do you invest? Rather than just blowing it. So thank you very much. And I end by saying a habit of saving it itself an education. Foster every virtue, teaches self-denial, cultivates a sense of order, trains to forethought, and so broadens the mind. That is by T.T. Munga. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our members, there are some issues that we need to seek for, that important issues that maybe they did not talk about, particularly the issue of a policy that you have like capturing the next of kin with the biodata, because that one helped us here in the SACCO Parliament, where you have the next of kin with his biodata, the photo, and everything, such that it doesn't take that members of the family to go into those issues of administrative which take long. And we need also clarity of the two saving schemes that you have. You know, you talked about this one lightly, that you have two savings. This one where you also, you know, yes. I mean, how is that one, the welfare one, vis-a-vis the Exodus SACCO? And how, I mean, how do you encourage people maybe to join the other? How is it managed? Is it like the digging thing within the police? How is it?
Madam Chair, you wanted to put some points that you need clarification on, and I want to add also something. We want to appreciate the SACCO for the work it is doing for building a culture in our policemen and women in savings. But it is really unfair, Madam Chair, if at all I'm saving, but then I cannot access my money anytime I want to. Because you can never know when you would have a problem, but as it is indicated in the report, you only access your money twice a year. That's what was present. You only access your money twice a year, which is not the case in our parliamentary SACCO. Whenever you have an issue, you're free to go and access your money. Because, Madam Chair, you can never know. Today I might have an issue, I may get a problem, I might have planned this way, but then things go another way. Yes. So, and remember, these people are getting a small salary. But if they are deducting some money from the source, but you cannot access it in time you want, then the other issue would be they've indicated so many banks here. There are so many banks. I don't know how they are conducting their about Iganga, are these offices physical or maybe they are also operating from the same police stations? Because for Iganga, when I heard about my visit, I was
perhaps forward it to Auditor General so that we can see the real picture and the status of the SACCO. On the floor of Parliament, two financials were presented, 2020 and 2021. Still, when I look at the documents I'm carrying here, they're the same. So I just want to know whether the leadership of the SACCO forgot about the request to this committee, because I'm informed the clerk to this committee requested for financials of 2017, 2018, and 2019. I don't know whether it is only me who has not been supplied. Secondly, Madam Chair, I want to know from the leadership of the SACCO the nature of these annual general meetings, and to be specific, it was who are these
representing effectively the people that they represent. So how do they present those issues in case they are there? Honorable Woman.
Thank you very much, Chair. Concern, when you look at the organogram of the membership, is from AIGP. The IGP and the deputy are not members. I don't know whether I'm right, if you look at it. Yes, they would be leading by example to encourage the junior officers by them being members.
I think this is what the minister also committed.
Thirdly, the two generals, that's the minister, the IGP, are senior army officers who would bring the success stories from the other side to the police force, even to the extent that this SACCO will not be struggling the way it is. So I want to encourage, interest them not to do a survey, literally that's for the SACCO. These are affairs of Exodus. Let them have a hands-on approach of really taking interest to ensure that we better the management of this Exodus SACCO.
Finally, on that one, when you look at the road management, one of the requirements is application letter to the IGP, who is not a member. So what does this mean? An IGP is not a member, but then you write a letter to the Inspector General of Police through the unit commander.
That's why the officers are worried about it.
Yeah, Chair, I think these are serious issues. Then, like my MP was referring to the branches opened. It is true, Iganga, we have a focal person, not a branch. I think we should differentiate the two. Having a regional branch or a branch in Iganga and a focal person who just sits at the RPC's office to help officers who will be traveling from Mayuge, Namaingo to come to Naguro headquarters. He helps them to process applications, not an office as it is being reported that there is a branch. Having an individual is different from having a branch on the grounds. So I think this one we should be clear when you explain. I thank you.
Okay.
And I therefore suggest that he first answers that first bunch and then the rest we can come in.
That one I saw in the presentation, Madam Chair, started in 1989. And these circles are member formed and member wound up. I can see a desire of not having multiple circles and multiple loyalties. But I think maybe it is within your powers also to have a session with that SACCO and also understand it so that you have a comprehensive view of these SACCOs and you make the suggestion because the membership cuts across.
Chair, clarification.
Yes.
Who is the chairperson of the association?
Of which association?
Of PASAL.
The other.
Second, sir.
Honorable Chair, I'm the chairperson of PASAL.
Chair, after Nanding has spoken, I want to request that since now you came for Exodus, let's remain Exodus, but have a time for, and then so that you have a broader view, and then you make your proposal, because now the complaint is mainly from Exodus.
Honorable Minister, it was raised as a concern,
Yes.
and that's why
And they are
members are
comparing
very
actually that PASAL is better than Exodus.
Exactly.
And then number two was about access to savings. I think it was raised by the honorable member from Iganga, 2 times a year, regulated by the AGM. This is the decision of the AGM. And I think also it was informed by issues of liquidity, because if you sell as you take, then there's an issue. So I need to point out that issue. That one, it's a decision of the AGM. They decided that way because you can't have access unregulated. I think that one we should agree. That you put, you take. You must have some form of regulation, and that regulation was set by the AGM, that you can only access twice. And I think, if I may put myself in their shoes, it was because they want to maintain some form of liquidity for them to offer credit, which is the founding idea behind the SACCO. The many banks issue, I think the leadership of the SACCO will answer.
Minister, on that one, because if they save and withdraw twice in a year, do those savings attract some interest? Do they accrue some interest that I've kept my money there, and therefore it is generating some?
Omoding, you will answer to that one. When the time comes, Madam Chair, I request that I first finish, then Omoding can add on. Financial statements, I think the chair should provide those ones from 17, 18, 19. But I remember him saying that 17 was turbulent. Those are the times when the Exodus SACCO was at its worst. So, but still, we need these audited accounts for the members to peruse. It's 17, 18, and 19. In addition to those we presented on the floor of Parliament. And then the other questions of who constitutes the AGM and how they are elected. I think you speak to that one, Omoding. For now, let me leave it there. Omoding, you take it from there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I want to begin with where Honorable Minister stopped, the AGM. The AGM, I talked about it. I picked right from the police stations. Every station is represented by a member. And in doing this, especially this last election of the delegates, we went throughout the country and talked to them about the issue of electing their delegates. So, in a station, we meet the way we have sat here, issues are tabled, and then the members decide to elect their representative. From every station, whether constable, whether sergeant, whether corporal, the composition is all ranks. Depending on how you are good in articulating issues and the knowledge about some of the issues that are being discussed about some. Because it also needs people who pick interest in understanding the things. So, all from the smaller stations, that is now the station like now I would say Katwe here. Katwe has a representative who is their delegate. The region must also pick theirs because that's a different composition. So, you who is picked as a delegate of Katwe must be able now to represent the interests of all. So when they come for the AGM, they pick the issues that they want to be raised. But some of the issues that they need to raise at times are administrative. So what we normally do, we say management handle the administrative issues, the management of SACCO. Then the other issues that members bring to the AGM must be issues that move the SACCO forward, strategy. So, but even when we are deliberating on the AGM, we handle some of these issues. So, according to our bylaws, we only hold the AGM in a day, but we have been putting it in 2 days. Because when a delegate has left the station transferred, we must elect another representative. So you find you are having every other time new delegates. This is just the nature of our deployments, which don't make a delegate to be permanent for some time or for a period. Today I'm here, if I'm moved, I cease to be a delegate. So there is another process, we elect another delegate. And when that delegate comes, he's coming fresh. And even the one who has left the session does not hand over the books. So you find there is a gap on what we do. But I've been emphasizing when I've been moving with the team, the country, I've told them that the office of a delegate must remain as he goes, he must hand over. Because the AGM records, the records all that we give, it must be handed to the next delegate. So that it does not come and begin from nowhere. So, the other issue that I wanted again to respond is the 50%. The 50% is not the salary. 50% that we're saying should be saved is the money that if I save my 20, you keep the 10. So that the other 10 can be accessed. That is the clarification I want to make here. But not cutting a half of the salary. The public service standing order doesn't allow that.
Actually,
So
it's not the salary, it is their savings.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, and that's where the problem now came from.
So
that I have saved my 200,000, you want to retain 100.
So even this, the AGM passed this resolution. But as I tell you, I have told the committee, members don't read. A resolution was passed. And it arose out of audit query from the auditors. That why haven't we implemented all this? So, even when we have a special AGM, we amend the bylaws. The same issues raised. Members, you know, people are not interested in reading. We discuss, I've been talking all over where I've gone with my team.
Officer, how many delegates? What is the composition of the delegates? Of the AGM, for the AGM?
What is the total now? 233. 233.
233 vis-a-vis 40. How many members? 42,900 something membership. Because how do they relay the information out of the AGM back to the membership to know that actually the AGM agreed to deduct this money and retain it? Do they get consensus from their members, or it is just a matter of coming and listening and then going back?
So, Honorable.
And how many police stations are represented? Like, for instance, let's take an example of my district chamber. How many police stations are represented? Is it the Shema Central Police Station?
Honorable Chair.
Supplemental on that, it can help the chair.
Because that's where the problem, the biggest problem came from.
even the issue of delegates, I received a call from senior officer that the level at which they choose these delegates, they just, like he said comfortably, somebody from the region. So it looks like there is a command from Kampala, so and so should be. So these people are not represented. And Chair, if you talk about publicity as your challenge, if you've talked of going out to the country nationally, do you only go to the stations and go, because this is issues of money, where people should have information. You cannot hide in the excuse of people not reading. You have a police spokesperson who is in charge of police affairs. Staff that are competently knowledgeable on financial issues.
Madam Chair, before he answers, in relation to activities, under A, Roman number 3, a member shall have the right to attend and participate at the general meetings, at which each member shall have one vote, irrespective of the shareholding. I want him to address us in relation to this bylaw here.
Akin to that, Chair. Akin to what the Honorable put. I also want him, while he was explaining about who attends and how a delegate is chosen, I want to refer him to Article 17 of their bylaws, where it states, Savings and Credit Cooperative Society shall have 7 regional meetings of members at which 1 delegate per 500 members shall be elected by the members to represent them at the general meeting. I want you to clarify, because you gave us a different explanation when I asked about it.
The amended ones, are they the current ones, or they are others which you will supply to us?
Honorable Chair.
That is the first one we should start with.
Honorable Chair, as per our bylaws.
Which ones? Are these the current ones?
That's very current bylaws. We did a review of our bylaws. And right now, that's why we held a special AGM on 24th November. And we have reviewed even the way we are picking delegates, because we wrote to the registrar explaining that these bylaws does not meet the current trend. So we did that in consultation with the registrar, and he advised that we must get back to the country and talk to officers, elect delegates based on the representation from the station. Like you are Shema, you are asking about Shema. Shema, whatever stations are there, every station there, if it is a district, has a representative. It has a representative. So is mine, wherever you are in Katapin, where it has a representative. So, the manuals, our AGM of that year, presented a number of manuals. We got the SACCO from
Now,
there.
before you leave that one, when that delegate comes in the annual general meeting to pass a resolution that is new, do you give them time to consult the members? For me, that's where the problem is. Do you give them time to consult their members over a new regulation that is affecting their welfare? Because now you cannot say that I just come as the chairperson of the committee, go and attend the business committee, and I represent my own views without consulting the members of the committee. So do you give them that adequate time to consult? Or you are just rushing pass a resolution
Madam Chair,
that requires you to collect more money and keep it there, and then we're also coming to how anyway, the investments, how they are done and how they are consuming lots of money within the SACCO in the next phase.
Madam Chair, can I move that before he answers, that he submits the list of the delegates to the committee?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, the list of the delegates is there. Also, but do you have it?
Yes, Honorable Minister, he looks for the list of the delegates.
I think, ma'am, the basis of this representation of 233 vis-a-vis the membership. And I think as he presents the list, maybe it would be helpful also to provide who is representing what.
Yeah.
And then the other question of do they consult? He spoke about it in passing, but also, and I think the Honorable member who said they must hold a certain number of meetings. I think from those meetings you generate the views of the members. So I think if you may allow him to prepare that and then submit it to the committee. Number two was about IGP and DIGP not being members. And I know this is a perception matter, very important, because you have to lead by example. But if I can be the advocate of the DIGP, he has just come, and I think he should be processing his membership for Exodus. But for the IGP, I think, and I was told that I was consulting him that the other SACCO, PASAL, is where he is. But it's not a problem, ma'am, but I want to say that in leadership, and that's, I spoke to that earlier, leadership, you must be seen to be there. So while he's there, if he wants to remain there, what we take home is that he should also be a member of Exodus. It's because it's perception, it's symbolism, because you have, and Exodus is the one that has the most membership of the police force. The other one is small, but this one is where the real business is. And I think we shall take it for all the leaders in the police force to also be members of Exodus. But the other issue of conscription, and I was asking the IGP that the best way I can answer it is, are there members of the police force who are not members of Exodus? And he said yes. So that means you can't be forced to be a member of Exodus. I beg to submit.
Chair, sought for a special waiver from the registrar. I would like to ask them to provide that written proof from the registrar that gave them that authority, in quotes, not to comply with their own bylaws. And we will then test whether that registrar actually has that authority to do that under the law. So let it be on the record that we need that evidence here.
Yes, IGP.
But as you can see, not all police officers are members of Exodus. And there is no way you can force a person to join a group he's not interested in. They come in, they get out. Now, about the time given out for financial literacy programs he has been talking about. This one is command-led, and we encourage that all division, district, regional commanders have a session with their personnel to inculcate issues of financial literacy to them. It is now mandatory that every police officer must understand financial literacy, financial capacity. Because we earn little, but how do we save? Saving is, as the Prime Minister said, saving is in this country, because we earn little, is now almost a necessity that we must save, but saving at the same time, you need to keep cajoling people to save. Even yourself, sometimes it is hard to save. So we are trying to encourage our personnel to save. But we are not forcing people to save.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think if we do, through Madam Chair, if we interest ourselves as a group, the officers here may speak very nicely and they will justify, but we want to have the gist of the problem. We have these officers. If we give you our phones in WhatsApp and phone calls, that would interest the committee to have these witnesses, to at least come and, without them, so that we can make a report. Because what we want, we are not here castigating you, but we want you to improve. To improve like your sister organizations. Not only here to paint good name, because these guys are there, Deputy IGP. They are there, they are crying. So forcefully may be something different, but they're saying our money, we are forceful, and these are senior officers.
They were forced.
They are.
Honorable Brandon, before you came in and I raised it with the minister, that we are going to have an interaction with those officers that raised the complaints, but even with the junior officers.
On that, Madam Chair.
We'll be out of camera. No.
Madam Chair, on that, IGP, to undertake, because our witnesses feel unsecure. The moment they appear here, you are going to punish them, either to throw them to reach hard to reach areas. This is their fears. So we want you undertaking that, because we want to clean the exodus so that it operates well. When the witnesses appear here, please undertake that. No disciplinary measure shall be taken against them.
Through you, Chair, I want to commit Honorable Chuanuka that we shall even assist you to procure those witnesses to come and appear. So no harm will come to them. But also, I think this issue of membership and whether they are, I can say taking the example of UPDF, they are nudged, for want of a better word, to join these circles for their benefit. I once asked these soldiers and said, there was a debate one time also when we were in the formative stages. They were saying, you are refusing us to take our money. And the bulk of them were saving about 5,000. And this was about 3 months after the formation of the SACCO. So the leaders were saying, these people, we shouldn't allow them to access this money because the SACCO will die. But others say, let's talk about it. In the AGM, then we say, how much do you save? Said 1,000. How much do you have now? 15,000. It's okay. If we allowed you to take it, where will you borrow? You want me who saves 100,000 to maintain my money there? So it was about persuading, education. It's a struggle, gentlemen. It's a struggle. So, so there are also other competitors. When people come, are enlisted in the training schools, banks are there, money lenders are there, and they are all competing for the money of these people. So the trainers say there is also this, but sometimes, if I can be blunt, they are also sometimes divided in terms of loyalty between the commercial entities and our SACCO. So most times they say, because they come with loans, application forms, please sign, we are giving you a loan for this, a loan for the other. So I want to request honorable members that we look at this through the spirit of Exodus. What was it meant for? I agree there may be issues, but how do we save it? How do we improve it? How do we make it better to serve the police officers and men? And if there are many complaints, whatever complaint, we should address it. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Going to our issues so I want to go to Honorable Chair, who have encouraged them when they become members, that you can say that it is not. We have one of these issues. So,
Mr. Bodin, most of your members are members of the police force, and I'm sure the HR is here. When the person dies, you know that the person has died. So there are no allegations on the issues of death of a police officer. I'm yet carrying, because now this informal, the SACCOs really should not be subjected to public service. They complicate things for people, and that's why people are saying that your forces are saying that the SACCO has complicated everything. That one, and two, you have talked of also I'm just bringing it because we are talking about complicating the procedures for accessing people's finances. So when you talk of, like, for instance, if I apply for a loan, because you have now used the IT, how long does it take for one to access it? So, you know, we don't want your SACCO to be like the parish involvement model.
Honorable Chair.
Yeah, because it's complicated.
Accessing a loan accessing in SACCO used to be high. But when we came in, we reduced, within a week, the loan has been processed. Now we process even loans. No, I'm giving you information. Honorable Chair, protect me because I need
protected.
Because if we keep interjecting, we may lose direction.
No, we are directed, sir.
So, Honorable Chair, I'm bringing just the genesis. That when we came in, it was taking months. So we reduced now to weeks. It has now come to days. In fact, now 3 days the loan is processed. But the problem is the interswitch from the main branch centenary where we have the account, the operational account. If you have an account in Post Bank, it will take 3-4 days for you to access your money. So that is where there is a delay if a loan has been processed. But if you are in centenary account there and then, that is where there is a delay. I have been explaining this to the members. So we have worked to reduce this period. And as we go digital, it is going to be even much faster. Because we have come a long way. So allow me to respond to some of the issues that have not been raised, because it keeps on. So I talked about the next of kin. I know there could be some difficulties in accessing, but all this is for checks. But we are going to address, if they are not addressing the faster the way the member should get it. It is taken. So the other issue that the minister had already raised because of
Procedure.
Thank you, Chair. I want to believe that this engagement is not adversarial. I want to believe that this is cordial and that we are here so that we do not have issues out. But from the body language of the Chair, he seems emotive, he seems annoyed with what members are asking him. I think you should not take us, perceive us as people who are actually being harsh on you. We want to get facts so that we can iron out these issues. Because when we go out there, people know we are people's representatives, and we want to give them sufficient information and also give them hope that whatever you're asking, we are putting everything right. So as you speak, some of us actually feeling like now wanting to run away because we feel we are being crucifying you. We want you to be the way you started presenting the report, because your tone and the body language has really changed.
Supplement on that, Chair.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm okay, Peter, MP Bukoliaina. Honorable Chair, maybe colleagues might have raised it, but I feel scared. I'm seeing the doctor seated this way. Is it the...
No, I
permitted it. And I think that might be contributing even to what Honorable Akoli has stated. If you were on the other side, then his body language would be a bit...
So you want him to come to the But his brother is making him and...
Madam Chair, because he's on the wrong side. That's why Honorable Brother...
Madam Chair, and actually, just to supplement on what Honorable Akoli is saying, we are here to streamline, to help also, because we have relatives. Maybe some of us may be candidates that after here we join police. So I'd like to look at our prospective SACCO that would help us in service. But this actually explains, because when you see the chair talk, this explains that SACCO is full of authority and administrative. It's just a command. So if you would relax, because people are watching you, they will even tell us, didn't you see what we have been telling you? Did you see? Did you see how the man was acting? So let us help each other calmly, and we resolve all these things. Thank you.
Honorable Chair.
IGP, you are invited to take a cup of tea with your team as we discuss,
Honorable Chair.
so that we relax.
First of all, Moding is not hostile to anybody. Part of when Moding is explaining, that's how he reacts. Members should relax, and it's not about confronting anybody. We are under command, and I think we have different ways of reacting. And
This side, because there is a French chair here.
Since you invited me, he said that's why I came in.
Yes.
And I'm very comfortable.
Okay, proceed.
And I want to allay the fears that my body language has changed. Never. Never.
Okay, you proceed, Doctor.
Because I want to raise issues to you and explain. So,
No, but Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is Doctor raising issues to us to explain, or we are the one raising issues? I don't know if he has gotten us well. Because he's saying he wants to raise issues to us and explain, and yet for us we have issues to raise to him. So before he brings to our attention the silent issues, I think let us first exhaust.
May I invite the doctor to sit near the IGP so that they discuss some of those pertinent issues now that we have a free chair here. You can come and sit next to the IGP.
thank you. To say something about that. And then the signatories.
As the chair talked about, when we came in, there were issues of liquidity. In fact, we found 93 million in the SACCO operational account that was of centenary. Now, you can see that the SACCO was at a verge of collapsing. So we need to come up with measures on how we can remain operational, and as well as members appreciating what they are saving. So when we came up with the policy of allowing members to access twice a year their savings, there are those ones who could save for a full year who need to be rewarded. Because we had no money, which is a cost, we say that at the start, let it be at 3%. In fact, we declared it in 2020, and we paid 529 million in 2021 as a reward on member savings. So as we have been stabilizing, we are reviewing these policies because they were guiding on how to remain in operation. So this percentage is going to be reviewed in this coming AGM, and we are likely to increase it from 3% to around 7%.
That is per annum.
Yes, per annum. So the issue of, we looked at it and we attached 3% initially, and it costed us 529. to members' savings account direct. So now we are reviewing it since we are stabilizing to 7%. We are going to propose it to the next AGM.
That is 7% interest, 7%?
Interest on savings. Like if you save with us for a full year, at the end of the year we have to recognize because we have been using your money. Yes, sir. Now on issue of having multiple bank accounts, when we came in, right now we have 4 bank accounts. That is the one of DFCU, the one of Equity, Centenary, Post Bank, and Opportunity Bank. I thank the Honorable who raised it, because when you have multiple bank accounts, it's a risk. But we openly produce this bank account before members to know where they are, where we operate, the accounts we operate from. When we came in, there were so many multiple bank accounts with Stanbic, which were dormant, with DFCU, with Finca, with Stanbic, with Orient Bank, and we made a decision to reduce on these accounts because they were not operational. So we made with only Post Bank and the Centenary. So these additional bank accounts of Opportunity and the Equity, they are a result of investment options and also spreading the risk, because we cannot keep the whole basket of members' savings into one account. Whatever that the bank collapses, what will happen if at all it collapses? So spreading the risk to make sure that also we give a member access to several banks, because our members, some are with Stanbic, others are with Opportunity, others with Centenary, so we give them a room to access their savings in those different accounts, not dictate. But that's the reason we have those bank accounts. And signatories on these accounts, one is myself, the treasurer. The second person is the chairperson, and the third person is the CEO. Why we do like that? Because we are mandated. Yes, is the CEO. We are mandated as per the cooperative to act as signatories. Thank you so much.
That is where you are only to Post Bank.
Yeah, on Post Bank, you know, we have recently we had to change the manager. So we are in the process of adding him on that account as a signatory for Post Bank. Thank you so much.
Chair, on that, the financial statements 2021, and this actually answers the question of members not accessing their savings. And from the submission of the treasurer, that is page 10, that is the financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2021. On page 10, when you look at the current assets of the SACCO, one of them is fixed deposits. Loan to members, 16 million. Receivables and payments, 6 billion. Canteen stock, 4 million. Fixed deposits, 17 billion. So when you look at what the SACCO has, what can even be accessed, much of the money is fixed. And members therefore cannot access their savings.
But you fix when you have surplus.
Members cannot access their savings. So to me, maybe they can explain this. Because you cannot have, I don't know which percentage is this, paying fixed, and then you allow members access their savings. From where? Because fixed has term. It is either quarterly, yearly, or biannually. And therefore, a member who has saved his money cannot easily access it because it's not available.
And it is also not true what my brother was explaining about OPE having accounts in different banks.
because you have fear that if bank ABC collapses, we have the Tier 4 Financial Institutions Act of 2000. And
on the other side, we said we do look into that when we are having investment options. Also relationship with banks, like Equity Bank, we are in the process of having a robust system. So one of the conditions when we are coming up with an MOU, have that relationship, was to open an account with them. And also spreading the risk, with risk management, you can't leave it on there. However much you are protected, the other side, it is a risk investing in one bank, putting the pool of members saving in one account, it is risky. Even if you benchmark with other SACCOs, they have several bank accounts. Thank you so much.
No, just around this, I wanted to add what you are raising on that time, as I told you, that the AGM had regulated the withdrawals. So we will not keep this money redundant in the operational account. So we have to look for ways of how to generate more funds for the SACCO. So that time we fixed the 17 true. But now when we started the buy-offs, we had now to get back some of the money to the operational account. So it is not true now that it is 17. So we are having now around 11.3 they are building. Because since this demand of buy-offs increased, we have been picking the money. When it is maturing, we are getting the money back to the operational account.
What interest are they giving you?
They are giving us at the current market.
What?
Maybe.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable. On that question, when negotiating on the rate of the fixture depends on the state, the bank rate. Then you negotiate with the bank how much is it offering. So our fixtures are in the range of 9 to 9, 8.5, 10. So depending on the market.
Do you revisit it monthly, quarterly, or?
It is annually.
So what interest are they giving you now? Because you cannot say it ranges.
Right now it is at 10.5. If we are fixed between 10.5 to 11. That's why I say you have to negotiate according to how much you are investing. Yes.
Okay. Chair, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We have not built offices across the country, but we are using the police structures. So we have at the regional offices where every liaison officer works with the regional command. And even helps whenever the regional police commander is having tours to his region, that liaison officer is part of the RPC's team because a number of issues are raised about SACCO. So it is this officer who answers most of these queries raised. And most of these officers are not lay people, they are people who are qualified in financial issues. So
information, Buena Chair. We are here, like Honorable Akoli said, some things maybe you need to take note. I told you, interest yourself. We are on the ground, we go for barriers, we are there. Most of the officers we are talking about, they only go when a school is banned, and that's after 11 hours plus, and there will be no time for this person. That's why I even asked you, that do you have people in this circle who are financially equipped, who are professionals into this direction? So we are giving you information, check your system. These people are not there, not only defending, and if they are telling you that they are there, they are doing a lot of nothing.
Actually, my clarification was, are these employed by the SACCO or they are part of the police system?
So,
and two, at a certain time we need the total number of your staff in the SACCO, because that one could also be a waste. I remember one time we wanted here to employ so many people, but we said, no, why should we? Now things are online, so we also need that structure.
And probably, Madam Chair,
Which money now?
Me, as a businessman, I'm interested in 11 billion. I want to know the dividends. Are the dividends or who shares the dividends?
Honorable Chair, when we make profits or surplus, it is declared in the AGM, and the AGM now has to propose what should be given for dividends, what should be given back for the operations. So this money is determined as per how we have made the profits. Because as we do business throughout the year, at the end of it, like the way we are now closing last year, we are going to declare what has been made. And then now, in the last AGM, which we held in May, we declared, first year we gave 10%, the next year we moved to 25% dividends to the members. So we are moving as we progress on making some of the profits. So even this year, I know it is going to be different, not like the way we gave last time. So coming back to
Madam Chair, on the issue that you raised, and what Honorable Brandon also raised, on the issue of making people aware of the operations and benefits of the Exodus SACCO. The Deputy IGP probably and the Director Human Resource, they are aware on how Wazalendo SACCO made it. At least I was part of that mobilization team under CPC. We have a CPC. Because this shouldn't be only delegates, because it is for the interest of the institution. I don't know whether the chieftaincy of CPC has the structures down there, because that would be their responsibility and under their mandate.
Thank you, Chair. Why we were saying management of police must be interested in SACCO. And we are interested in SACCO. If you note the trend, what he has been reading, you notice that there has been a change for the better. That has not been by accident. It has been a gradual process, convincing members, first of all, to save, to sustain saving, and also to weed out any form of corruption within the system. It's a management issue, and we take it seriously. So every meeting we have out there, we talk to the personnel on savings, on Exodus, and almost on a monthly basis we give these people time. Because they have other duties other than SACCO. Give them time. Him and his team, they sectorize the country. Today they want to go to northern Uganda, and we give them, say like a man, go out there, convince the members, to tell them, to bring them on board on the do's and don'ts on SACCOs. Yes, there might have been mistakes. These are mistakes we are trying to weed out so that we get out a better SACCO. And even today, there are issues members are raising that are very pertinent. And possibly there are lessons to be learned by us and the SACCO here. Possibly will be better after this meeting.
My question was on the day-to-day operations of the Wazalendo SACCO and the operations, or rather of Exodus SACCO and the operations of the police, vis-a-vis information dissemination. And entirely this should be CPC's responsibility. Not only the board who goes out when there is money for allowances.
No, I say this is a responsibility of command, and we have been doing it. What I only added that we also give them time specific to go out there. But otherwise, on every baraza, financial literacy has become part and parcel of it. Honorable Chair.
Madam Chair, maybe like Honorable Kaunda says, the commander is here, because the IGP is just giving, and I myself, I deal with communication every day. So,
just say that you are the spokesperson.
Yeah, I am. Kaunda is asking, do we have structures? And the barazas we are talking about, we are telling them, these people are talking about theft of goods, that community policing, but are we talking about sensible things that are making us sit here? So it would be nice if we hear.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I'm the chairperson of the Supervisory Committee, and most of the things the chairperson board has elaborated. But on the other side of political commissariat of the Uganda Police Force, through our departments of political education, we move around the country sensitizing police officers on the welfare issues of the police force, including Exodus SACCO, encouraging members to save, benefits of saving. But I also want you to interest in the way police officers live their lives. That's why you see a lot of complaints about Exodus SACCO, because it is a tug of war to make a police officer save money. A police officer is this kind of person who wants to live day by day, but at the same time believing in a brighter future, which they don't want to start as of now. The SACCO has come from very far, and there could be some administrative issues, like it has been aired out, which are basically going to be worked on and improve the SACCO on better. We have a program under my office which is called the rectification and the rectification campaign. When we move in the country, it is specifically looking at those issues which are affecting police officers' performance, including their welfare and presenting welfare issues, including the SACCO. So the information has been disseminated. That is why we had a country-wide tour on sensitizing members, giving them information. Because sometimes they speculate.
Can you first take us through the structure of your office? Because when you say when we go out, that means you are at the headquarters when we go out on a specific mission. What is the structure of your department?
The structure, this is a directorate which has 6 departments. But the specific department for this particular commissariat work is the Department of Political Education, where we have political commissars.
You deploy up to what level?
Up to the district level. Up to the district level. And the commissars are entirely to look at the welfare issues and other issues that affect the police officers as they perform their duties. So, information down there reaches officers. Could be there are still some gaps, but we are working out to see that every police officer gets the needed information about Exodus SACCO, and that is why you see the improvement in membership and loan demands, because we have encouraged officers to save and get loans other than saving and withdrawing their savings.
Okay. Madam Chair, I also had one, especially the operations of Exodus. We have now 2 parallel circles. Don't you think that one can have an effect, even in the royalty, 2 circles? So you might find these people are making, as they contribute 2 circles, we left our policemen down, breathing, because whatever they are contributing a lot of money because they want to satisfy.
No, I'm just his party board. And I believe that's why the big shots are not paying attention to the SACCO.
Chair, I tend to be uncomfortable with the impression that is being created if I'm given 2 minutes, if it is allowed. The Uganda Police Force, as the position is, runs, there are 2 groups. I like the way you put it. Each one of us here is in more than 1 or 2 groups. Purpose is to save and maybe better our lives. Before the establishment of the cooperatives, as the government policy is, the Uganda Police Force, since its inception, had the police, I think it started as welfare, a welfare association. Later, it turned into Police Savings Association Limited, with a view of improving the members' welfare. It also grappled with a lot of challenges. The association that we are talking about, it has grappled with a lot of challenges, but it's persevered through is what we have today. It is a company limited by guarantee.
Procedure.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I appreciate the submission made by the chairperson of PASAR. But during the course of our investigations, PASAR is one of the witnesses that we shall interact with, the management of PASAR. I therefore wanted to move that we limit ourselves from entertaining the submissions of PASAR now until the time when we invite them specifically to answer some few questions related to the operations of the association.
So PASAR is one of them. Let's proceed with the doctor. And if he changes the body, don't say that he has changed.
Thank you, honorable officers who are deployed as the liaison officers at the regions. And requested police management to second them to SACCO. And these are people, depending on the requirement of the recruitment, first the interviews, and they are police officers, as you had asked, that are they police officers, they are police officers. So, the total number of members of Exodus SACCO who are...
Yes. For our record and the report of Parliament, would the chairman be comfortable to expand the earlier report that they have branches, and we call them liaison officers, side that
and their terms of reference.
We
will read their terms of reference.
Yes.
And how do they get extra? Would they get extra pay for that service?
So these officers who are seconded to SACCO are getting allowances. That is what is being given to them.
Is it equal?
The CEO will tell us that, because I don't run the 20 degrees of administration. CEO? No.
As they qualify, as they are seconded, can we also have on shares management? Do they understand financial issues? Do they have a background? Instead of saying
these people, what are their terms of reference? How are they facilitated? Is it equal facilitation for different stations? What is their role in short? What do they do? Do they just sit in Mbarara and people from Bushenyi and Shema specifically, I can't miss out mention, don't benefit?
Thank you, Madam Chair and honorable members. We call them branches because initially the strategic objective was to have them operate as branches. That is fully fledged departments for management, for credit, from savings. But then the costing on the side of the members does not permit it in terms of resources. So just to allay fears of the honorable member that said that there's a focal person, no. We have a strategic plan to fully fledge them as operating branches, but for now the resources can only permit to deploy a single person to act as the credit officer, also act as the savings analyst, so that we could ease on the service delivery. Thank you, madam.
Who are these people? What are their qualifications and how do you motivate them?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. These people are police officers that are recruited under the SACCO. In regard to qualifications, they are accounts and finance degree holders. We also are helping them in terms of CPA, like we're trying to capacity build them in terms of training. We give them an allowance of 850,000 Uganda shillings a month. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Chair, just something brief. I may not be able to interpret. What is this rank? What is your rank in the police?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My rank is the Assistant Superintendent of Police. My training...
Yeah, that's okay. So if a police officer at the lowest level comes to his office, as he is, he's the CEO, and this is the member of the SACCO, if he comes to your office and you address like that, how do you expect this member now? How does he address you?
As the manager, SACCO.
So you can see, you can already see financially where the problem would be. If I'm a junior officer and I've come seeking SACCO matters and my boss, senior officer, have to salute and
also, but tell us, do you behave like the person with those stones, or you behave like a manager?
No, Madam Chair, we are servants of these members. So we, at all times, we must give them hope. The offices are open. We are always listening to their problems, and we are committed to improve their welfare. Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair, I just have one question. When Ashaba, you are the CEO. We are now into, because for him, could you tell us who you are?
Things are ASP, Ashaba Osbat. My training is, I'm a financial manager with a postgraduate degree in financial management. I'm also a public administrator with a master's degree in public administration. I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in management science. Thank you, sir.
And what is your responsibility as the CEO of the Exodus?
As CEO of Exodus SACCO, I must implement the strategic objectives of the SACCO. I also review and implement policies that are by the board and the AGM. I also play an oversight role on the day-to-day running of the society. Thank you.
When did you last transfer your staff?
We have had departmental rotations. That is, it was in about October last year, 2022, where we had to transfer the heads of department in regard to risk, credit, savings. The only people we haven't transferred on record is the branch managers. Thank you.
Do you authorize the transfer of those staff?
Thank you, sir. I recommend the transfer to the board and they approve it, and then we carry out the function. Thank you.
Madam Chair, through CEO, can the CEO give us?
Coming to them here, according to the chair, they are license officers. According to him, they are.
Madam Chair, for the interest of this meeting, let's officers.
But we need their terms of reference.
Madam Chair, if we would have, and also their qualifications.
Yes, sir. Acting CEO for 8 months. That is from March 15th, 2020.
Who was the CEO before you?
He was a civilian called Mr. Kamsha Dickens.
Is he the one that took you to court?
The one that we took to court.
Who was taken to court?
Yes, he's the
That
one.
Kamugisha?
Yes.
And I understand he won the case?
No, he
That's
hasn't.
what I heard. Is it?
No, he hasn't.
Yes,
Honorable Chair, that case we are waiting for the ruling.
Okay, so where
You know, people are peddling all lies. SACCO submitted the last witnesses submitted. We are waiting for that ruling.
So the case is about time.
You can
The fee just the services. Is he actually making claims or the ridiculous ones?
Just thrown out.
Honorable Chair, the issue arose from supplying of the canteen. So there were no contracts. He told the meeting, the board meeting, that the previous board had given the suppliers the contract. So when we asked from the resolutions, he did not produce. He said it was in the book, but he did not produce. So those were the issues.
Chair, this takes me to the issue related areas.
Before he go, can he come later? Let him first.
And I haven't raised yet.
Yes, you, okay, your Honorable Kahonda and the shadow minister.
Honorable Chair, I'm seeing most of the issues that were raised, some were answered by Fandi. On ourselves over the same, because I noted them.
Yes.
I also want to, I think, tell the chair that there are issues that you have not answered, and maybe perhaps to remind you. The issue of this, to me, been answered, because all the issues I think are arising out of delicacy. So I want you to sufficiently answer that question of asked you. I don't believe you have answered us. So I want to, how do you really come up with the delegates? Because in one way you say, but when you read your own bylaws, you say one delegate is supposed to represent how you come up with these delegates.
Position that what you are reading in our bylaws. No, I'm not changing.
Allow him to explain, then you will seek for clarification. Otherwise, you're scaring him. Okay, proceed, Doctor.
So I was saying, our composition of delegates comes from all the units. You know, when the SACCO was formed, we had 7 regions by that time. That's why you are seeing from the inception, we're saying that every delegate will represent 500. And we're having 7 regions. And this was now by that. But when we looked at the composition and the way the force has grown, you cannot now say only the very few, because by that time there were very few people who were representing the SACCO in the AGM. So, what we did now, on the guidance of the registrar, that every unit must have a representation. So this one was done when we consulted him, because even by the time we came in, we were asking him to guide us on our term of office, because by the time the Cooperative Act got amended,
I wrote to him seeking clarification whether I would be qualified to go for 4 years. Then he said, no, you came in after the amendment. No, we came in before the amendment. So he said, now what you do, carry out the transition, go and meet the members everywhere before we elect the new delegates. So he gave that guidance. That's why now we reached every station. In fact, some of the stations don't reach even the bylaws that they must be 500. When a station is having only maybe 1,500 officers. But you can't deny them the representation because of their less in number. So that's why you are seeing now, when we have all the policing units of the police, the regions, there are 28, you go to the districts. So we pick, then we go to the stations or specialized units. So we pick all these. Those who have bigger numbers, like VIPPU, they are having 4 delegates. As to, they should be having about 3 because there is also big. The specialized, these big specialized units. So,
Madam Chair, we would like to understand. The Chair says we pick. Because of question of interest, how are these delegates? How do they become delegates?
The delegates
talk about
the criteria.
Yes. Who elects them?
The criteria, how they are elected from their units. People sit and the issues of the delegates are presented to the members, taken through, and it's the members now to vote whom they want to represent them.
And who are these members? Since you say
SACCO
members is voluntary, and then we are telling you they are people, because it's just recanting from your statements. We pick, they pick, and then we are telling you there are complaints that people are forced. Because if you go to my station in Buwenge, I was there the other day, I interested myself to know the members of the SACCO, and they are not there. So who are the delegates that are from there?
I don't think whether there are no members in Buwenge who are what?
I am giving you information so you can interest yourself. And then also simplify to us what are the units, because maybe it could be a false language, but we would like to understand.
Additionally, Chair. Just hold on, let that GP first come.
Chair, he has explained that initially it was 1 to 500, but now later it changed to 1 to each unit.
So what is the unit?
1 to each if you want a police station at the district level. Division. Or a division in the cases of urban areas. Now, I think, Chair, going forward, he may, let's agree that we forward the list of the delegates, at least the current delegates, and the criteria in writing, so that members can get this in writing, clearly explaining and possibly referring to the relevant law.
Yeah,
so that you can get.
We will appreciate that information of getting the list of delegates, and but also, you know that the delegates who represent the members is the highest decision-making level.
Okay.
And we want to know, because you said that you passed that during the AGM, but when you passed that one, and it keeps on coming, we have not yet gotten that clarification. Did you inform your delegates before they came so that they go and popularize it to the members, such that by the time they come to the meeting to make that final decision? Yes, they should have made consultations. So, because that's why we are getting your members raising a lot of, hell everywhere. Especially that unpopular.
The 50.
Yes.
Chair, I wanted to add to that.
Yes, please.
Let us not confuse or mix the two articles. The one on AGM,
yes,
and the members' right to participate, which is a regional meeting. I presume the regional meeting was meant to do the things that Madam talked about, to give other opportunities. Those are very two different organs that are stated here. If under the AGM, as the chairman presented, in his own words, he actually said that democratically elected representatives. We will then need the evidence of the democracy that took place. The minutes, the nominations in the elections, whatever took place, and the declaration of results, the returns, then should be given to us here, so that we can then be able to see how the different, whether units or branches or sectors, participated democratically and elected that representative. And then we can now look at the total list and see if those are the same people. On that matter.
Chair.
Yes. The processes were taken, and we have all the minutes and those who participated in the process. It is there because it was a requirement for any delegate to come for the AGM. The unit was supposed to submit all this, because the unit that is now like a division or chairman for your case writes to the CEO that who have participated in the election of the delegates. These are the members who participated, and these are the members who are the campaign for the position of delegates. And then it is now the members who vote. Everything is documented. That is now the head of the division.
Chair, member of the SACCO.
Chair, I want just to, I want Chair to ask. You see, it is very important in leadership that even when your juniors tell you something, it is important to also cross-check. I remember there is a time I was raising an issue of logistical support to officers at the district level. And I had the reason why I was asking at that time, because some of my police stations within my district were really not supported logistically. And the officer in charge of logistics, no officer should lie to you, that everywhere we have supported them. I also specifically asked him, do you know that, are you aware that in some of the district police stations, I volunteered, I gave them money to construct a latrine. Yet the officer in charge of that police station had written severally, DPC region to the center. But another thing, Chair, what is behoving in my mind is that of their bylaws. Still he is dissociating himself that they have new regulations. And so then why didn't you come with those which are current? So why was it so deliberate that you had to punish us with a document which you know has already been amended? What was the intention? And the bylaws, I'm told, have not been passed. So why did you decide to furnish this committee with a document which you know you have already reviewed and have made changes? Because for us, we are addressing ourselves to the document that you have given us.
Madam Chair, on that, because many of the areas which were amended, for example, specifically on this one, is it still maintained that the senior members or cadres, they can borrow up to the maximum of 50 million? Was that one, do you remember that one ever been changed? Do you remember that one? Is that category? That to get a loan, the maximum you can get is 50 million at that specific rank. Do you remember whether that one has ever been changed or hiked to another amount?
Of my savings, that on my rank now.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Okay, so can you respond?
Madam Chair, the issue of amendments, I should be having a copy somewhere. I will check of those areas that were amended. And as I told you, we have already submitted it to the registrar. We are waiting because it's a process. So with the issue of...
Madam Chair, no. How long does that one take? Really to file that amendment and to be registered?
It is already with the registration.
No, it does not even take a month. So it does not even take a month.
I will find out from management.
Honorable members, He said that he wrote to the registrar to give them permission. And the registrar wrote back. And this is what Honorable Du was asking, that do you have proof of that letter from the registrar? So that we have it on so we can have that one. Maybe it answers even what other members are raising. Yeah. So we shall have it today.
Madam Chair, that one was directed about the increment of the loan. You can address that one. Do you remember that the maximum was ever reviewed and hiked? Because the maximum, according to the money you have and the regulations, it is at 50 million. Yes, 50 million. It is at 50 million. Do you remember that it has ever been reviewed? Was it ever amended?
So I will ask Treasurer and CEO to respond on that.
But, Honorable Chair.
But are you the treasurer?
Just giving information.
No, let the treasurer respond, then when the time comes, maybe if he fails, he'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, we've been reviewing these policies based on from our members, to safeguard them from other financial institutions who are trying to exploit them. So, and also as well as the changes in salaries. So when the demand for our loans, we looked at a constable. Previously, a constable could get a maximum of around 4 million. So when we came in, we reviewed it, and so many constables could come, and they wanted around 7 million and could not meet it. So we reviewed the policy from 4 million to 7 million. Then the maximum period from 3 years to 5 years. Now, during the progress also, there were increments on salaries, especially on scientists and lawyers. So also the demand for loans increased, and these members wanted to obtain loans from us. So also the board decided, it is the process, we reviewed the policy and we are taking it to the AGM. But because of demand, we reviewed and implemented. From 50 million, we are now giving up to 70 million in a period of 5 years. So it depends on affordability, officers earning.
Who reviews?
The board.
Okay, can we have, can we, treasurer,
Has never been approved.
treasurer,
That one, that amendment.
treasurer,
Yes, madam.
chair and your team, can we are seeking for the credit policy, the HR policy, investment policy. Which other policy do we need? Membership. You have the membership, that is part of HR. Yeah.
Just all their policies, let them.
Yes.
Any policy in existence, supply.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. We came with the credit and savings manual, but we have all policies and we shall deliver them. Thank you.
Okay. So,
I'm again AIGP Charles Virunji. Mine was to highlight on the issue of the application for loans going through IGP. In the first instance, the one who is applying is a police officer, and the IGP has to guarantee that is the police officer still serving, because there are some others you find they have already deserted. Then in other cases you find someone now like the loan policy, their loan terms are for 5 years. Is remaining with a few years to retire. If he's extended the loan, then he will retire when he's not able to. He has not yet cleared the loan. And lastly, it is the police that guarantees the recovery of this money from the payroll. So they have to ascertain and get that commitment that the police will be able to recover the loan. That's the purpose of the application letter to IGP.
Thank you. Honorable
When they came into those offices and assumed the responsibilities, that Exodus SACCO started seeing some results. I'm just saying this as a member who was there then, a member of the committee who was there then, because we interacted with them. When you were at the committee then, and you are at the same committee now, and you listen from the police leadership on matters regarding Exodus SACCO, there is some improvement. Dr. Moding as a chairperson, at the time when we first interacted with you, I think you were the interim chairman. You had not been fully elected as a board chairman. You were already elected. Okay. Madam Chair, I remember there are issues. At that time you had something to do with Mwangaza. Was it Mwangaza or Mwangaza, something like that? Is it still existing?
Honorable Chair, the issue of Mwangaza was handled.
What is Mwangaza for the benefit of the members?
Probably you can take us through, because there were three existing groups at that time. There was Mwangaza, there was Pasar, and there was Exodus SACCO. Probably for the interest of members, I request that there is information there.
Just giving information. Mwangaza was an initiative by the former IGP to mobilize crime preventers into something that will get them.
Similar to Exodus?
Yes, but specifically for crime preventers. But I think when some due diligence was done by them, they felt yes, unwise to keep it being one, because even the way it was being managed was suspect in one way or another. So it was
yeah, thank you, Chair. But police had injected the money in that group. Probably we need to know what happened to the resources that police had injected in the group. Was it shared? Did it cross to Pasar? Did it go cross to Exodus? What happened?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mwangaza, as you heard about it, Mwangaza was a crime preventers group. In fact, they had formed also like a SACCO. But by that time, they had undertaken getting engaged with working with the police. And by then, IGP felt that they would be suited to work with the police Exodus SACCO. So I think that time when we went to elections of those years, they were involved all over the country. So there was the issues of feeding what, and they had claimed a lot of money which was handled by management. So the committees were put in place to look at, is it true what these people were claiming? So management put in cross-check, because they were, it was I think elections of 2016 where they were involved so much. So it accrued to a lot of money which was being injected in it. But the government kept on paying that money. And the last part of the money was cleared. So SACCO recovered some of the money that was injected to that project. But of course, in any business, there are either you recover all or not all. So it was a really very, if you looked at how they were operating, it was a project, because it was called a SACCO which even when we cross-checked with the registrar, it was, I think their registration had expired. Even we say now, how do you relate with an entity that is not registered? So those are the issues. That's why I say I don't want to go deeper to the history of it. Yes.
Okay, but let's ask the one which is now financial. Out of the 1,682,000,000 which belong to Exodus, outstanding at the end of 2020, has it been recovered or not?
CEO, you can help me on that.
Thank you, Chair. Out of the 1.6 billion, we managed to recover 894 million.
Million. Is it a billion or million?
Million. We managed
about half of
it.
So half is outstanding.
Half is outstanding, and initially the Mwangaza, who are crime preventers, had planned to petition the president over that whole project. It was a political project. And then we also intend to recover the balance in the event that the petition is adhered to. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I remember police through Mwangaza had reached out to suppliers, as he put it, in I think 2016, and the individual suppliers supply the crime preventers through that kind of arrangement. Did you clear all the outstanding bills, areas of the suppliers?
Honorable Chair, but it was not SACCO directly who contacted these people, but it was Mwangaza.
That's the difference that I wanted us to understand. The clarity that we need to draw the lines between Mwangaza. Was Mwangaza getting money from the Exodus SACCO? Because for us the focus is on Exodus. If Mwangaza got money from Exodus, that's what we should be interested in.
Madam Chair, actually that's where I'm heading to. Because Exodus SACCO had supplied. Mwangaza had supplied, I think, up to the tune of, they had an outstanding areas of around, was it 11 billion? Something like that. And then, as a committee, we appropriated around 4 billion at that time to cater for the outstanding, to reduce on the areas, because this was members' savings. And we said, no, it cannot be. So we provided that money to reduce on the burden, to allow members access their savings. And I remember at that time there were even issues with the management. They wanted to grab it and use it in some other priority areas within their mandate.
Which management?
The management of police. That is when I talk of the management of the police, that is the IGP and the...
So using that money that had been allocated to settle the debts?
To settle, specifically for Exodus. Now maybe we need to be updated on what is the status as of now relating to the areas.
Honorable Chair, as I stated, the last batch was cleared of that money, which was paid to Mwangaza. So we don't have any other person who is really on us, apart from maybe Mwangaza who have not cleared their people. So that's why Osbert was saying that what we have not recovered is only the other half. But with the SACCO, when the money was appropriated by Parliament, police received it,
and was fast, and we also cleared the other people from Mwangaza.
But that was one of the questions I have, and I want us to deal with it. The issue at that time, I remember in the 10th Parliament, money from police SACCO was used by the IGP and team, not personally, by the police to handle their supply. There were shortages, and they came to Parliament because the savers were crying, and the reason was your money has been used elsewhere. So Parliament then appropriated the supplementary to the police so that the police can reimburse the SACCOs, and that's how I remember the 5 billion which was there. So ordinarily the 5 billion should have cleared that debt at once. The SACCO should have recovered their money at once. But from what we are hearing, it has been done in bits, And now we have a balance of 800, which still makes a lot of sense because the idea is recover all the savers' money.
Yes, CEO.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The history of is that they are alleged to have supplied up to worth 30 billion Uganda shillings. But then the police management, when it tried to interfere, because at the beginning the way it was managed was a bit unruly. So when the police management tried to create sanity, they carried out a verification of the whole supply. What the police management was able to verify was 27 billion. It did not take away the complaint of the other suppliers. So what happened is when we received the last batch, we were faced with recovering all our money as Exodus SACCO, or also putting in the political issue because they were under pressure at that time. You would get phone calls from, there were suppliers, there were voters, they wanted their money. So what we did is we picked what we could pick and deferred the balance to their petition because they convinced us and said they were supposed to petition the president for the balance of what was not verified. And that's what we're waiting for. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chair, probably they needed to put the record clear. Is it Exodus that supplied? No. It was Mwangaza that supplied. How did the Exodus come in?
Madam Chair, as I stated earlier, Mwangaza, since we had a canteen that was running, so they were asked if they would be able to supply hot meals all over. But of course that capacity was not there. So they entered an understanding that SACCO should now bring in.
Members are broccoli here that Exodus and Mwangaza. How are they? What was the business between the two? Because you said Mwangaza was for the private vendors. Exodus was the police. So who was supplying who?
Mwangaza won a contract and subcontracted.
Chair.
Subcontracted Exodus?
No.
Chair, let me give you information. What through the time of elections and deployment of officers across the country, it was pertinent that we serve officers hot meals. The Exodus SACCO was contracted to do that job, and it was unable. It subcontracted Mwangaza. So Mwangaza actually does, through their crime preventers SACCO, it supplies them. That's the relationship between UPF, Exodus, and Mwangaza.
So in short, Exodus was supposed to clear Mwangaza.
Exactly. Yes.
Then the money they gave, but now you're using the savers' money. The Exodus was using the savers' money, and that money from Parliament was to exonerate Exodus to capitalize it.
Yes, but in terms of it was given for payment of the meals, the debts, Part of the dates for which they gave the supplementary budget was to cater for the hot meal supply.
Chair, now
so let's not go in that.
I just want to, Chair, to ask, now moving forward, we need to be serious. And this is why we as a country we are facing many problems. You see, you cannot tell me Exodus, its intention was to improve the welfare of the police officers, and you are looking for investment opportunities so that you can grow your profits in line of improving it. And you want to tell us Exodus had no capacity to go further to source for all the supplies needed by the police at that time, and you decided to go for just a junior group of officers, and you contracted them, and the Parliament comes in to rescue Exodus. Why didn't you people move ahead? Either you could go and get a softer loan somewhere, rush supply, and then you later on get the payment. We are looking for investment.
Information.
Yes.
You see, the CEO mentioned about the politics at that time, and I think when we go in deeper, we could discover that what is being talked about here is actually dishonesty. At that time, there were operations that police were undertaking, justified or not, and they ran short of funds. The police administration dipped their fingers into the savers, which was easily available to meet their operational or administrative challenges, whether hot meals or not, at that time. And most of them involved those crime preventers. Now, when the savers started demanding their money, and it came on the floor the same way, it was raised through an urgent matter that the policemen are crying that they cannot access their savings. It was then explained to Parliament that police had a shortage. Their vote, the Uganda police had a shortage of money, so they borrowed money, let me use that, they borrowed money from the SACCO. So they justified it as a supplementary, which went to the police, but it was meant to reimburse the SACCO, so that the SACCO could get back to its level. That was the whole thing at that time.
Okay.
Expound it for me. Apart from the fixed deposits in various banks as a form of investment which you have done, is there any other investment which has been carried out on behalf of the Exodus SACCO? That is issue number one. Issue number two, in respect of the advanced loans, it is clear in the bylaws and in the manual that each of these loans above 3 million shall attract a stamp duty. It is there. Now my question is, all these loans now which have been advanced in respect of the senior officers and the junior officers, do they comply with those provisions of paying stamp duty to URA?
Have you finished?
Yes.
Or you still have more? Okay. Yes, you note down.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My questions now will relate more with this audit report that we have for the year ended 2020. And my first question would be on the issue of salaries and wages. We have already asked for the list of the employees. But under salary and wages, a total expenditure of 431 million was paid, and the equivalent of the National Social Security Fund contribution, which is supposed to be 10%, is only actually 5 instead of 43 million shillings. What would justify that payment of salary, which is not matching the employer's contribution for National Social Security Fund? Secondly, I want them to explain to us the profit from the canteen. In 2019, they made a loss, the canteen made a loss of 73,154,629. But in 2020, just 1 year, they were able to make a profit of 750 million, 458, 899. That is an international standard turnaround of business. From a loss of 73 million, you go to 750 million. Just 1 year. Doesn't it concern them that there was dishonesty in 2019? That actually the SACCO was making money, but there are things that happened and led to this under declaration. On the fixed deposit, which is reported here, I want to know, when did you start fixing money? Before I ask the question, when did you start fixing money? 2020, that's correct. Now, if you look at the 6.5 billion, which was fixed in 2020, the profit interest from fixed deposit on page 24 has been reported here as being 266,236,000. The treasurer told us here that the interest rate is about 10 to 11, 10. But if you calculate, this is just 4%. It means that where they are fixed money, the SACCO is losing about 6% to the middleman. Because this money is just 4%. And if you are fixing at 11, 10 to 11, where is the 7? And that 7 comes to about 500 or 600 million. It should be.
It's supposed to be 600. If you take 10%, it's 600 million.
Yes. And here it is only reported 266. And that is members, because the member has given you money to grow it. And you have grown it, instead of taking back to the member, who is a poor police officer, it has been diverted somewhere. That difference must be explained properly. You look at the audit fees. In 2019, the audit fee was 371 million shillings. Audit fees, 371 million shillings. And then in 2021 year, the same auditor, now the audit fee is only 45 million shillings. The audit fee, 45 million shillings. Meaning that the audit firm has been very good and has discounted to the SACCO by 326 million. That is...
Is it still the same audit firm?
Yes, it is here. Even if there are different audit firms, even if they are different, there is nothing that would justify that this one. So that must be explained. Otherwise, members are going to lose. Then the last one. There is a building which has now depreciated to about 1.2 billion shillings. On whose land is this building sitting? Because the building is captured here on the record as belonging to the SACCO, to Exodus. But the building has not been captured as land and buildings as usually captured by auditors, meaning that somebody else owns the land and the building is only for the SACCO. So can they then explain who owns the land where the SACCO has built? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. I just wanted to start from the profits of the canteen. As I told you earlier, that when we, in fact, it came from the issue of the manager, why a manager was taken in. So that time, the management, the board members who were in the board then had decided to run contract supply. So when we came in fact it came out of the question which the manager then raised to us, that they had given the suppliers a new contract. So that's when we asked now, where are the resolutions for that contract? So what was happening, most of these board members were the ones supplying the canteen, whether food, milk, everything. So, and you would inject money at the end of it, I think they were making only 6 million, then it comes to about 72 that the canteen was making.
So, arising out of what management took, police management, because by that time I was working hand in hand with the chief of staff. So, apparently, chief of staff guided us. Said, no, with now the supply of the canteen, do direct purchase for now as we stabilize. So, we kept on going to buy food direct to the market. That's how we started now realizing profits. You buy a bunch of madoke, food, everything. We disregarded now all these suppliers because there was a question on it. So in that year, that's how this profit was made from the 750, because now it was direct purchase from the market. So the controls also were being put in place to make sure as people eat, the money must be properly accounted, who has eaten, who has what. So there were many loopholes within the system.
So if the money deducted or the country deducted from, or they pay directly cash or what?
We have been having running contracts to supply what emails to the police.
All the...
Not all, especially those who are manning the command center where our cameras are, those who are working at the headquarters. So, and then some of the units within who have requested their personnel to be fed. So these officers clear that money, their personnel eat. So that's why we're now. Then there are those customers who come in, walk in, and eat.
So I wanted to request that those board members, the list be supplied to us. You may not remember them now, but we need them. The ones who are doing insider dealing.
But are you still supplying hot meals to those units?
Right now, yes.
And Chair, as you are aware, that we moved almost to most of the command centers of CCTV cameras. The challenge they had was food.
Yes. Honorable Chair, we are not supplying all the command centers, specifically the one at the headquarters. So what happens here on this arrangement that the undersecretary made for those areas?
You only supply the headquarters?
We only handle the headquarters.
But you don't give them water?
Honorable Chair, they get it.
No, I'm not telling you. We have moved. Basically, no water.
Maybe it is not
on board chair.
I'm just raising it to my friend here.
On board chair, I command this personnel. There is water. And
You are the one in charge.
They are dispensers. As operations, they are dispensers in these command centers. They get water.
We will talk about that. This is not part of this issue.
So, the other one who fixed people is the CEO and will handle that. The other issue of the audit fees, also they will address that. But when we came in, we got a SACCO since inception. Honorable Chair, the SACCO since inception, we had found they had audited from 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019. Now the years from inception, that is now 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2012, we were never audited. So when we got these auditors whom we started with, they said, where do we base our audit from? So as a board, we took a resolution for them to look at all those books right from inception. Because that is even the time when we did the reconstruction. Because there were a lot of issues, missing records, which we had to handle. So we had to look at the remittances from headquarters and compare with what is in a SACCO, so that we would get a fair picture of the savings of the members. So we did that. So these audits, the 371 also got on second level will answer it, because I don't know whether this money was the one which was given by that year of audit by the old board.
CEO assisting your chair is seeking for information.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On audit fees, as the chair has elaborated previous years, to say that she could not own up, and we are going for AGM, preparing final accounts. Then